good. I hope you had a great Friday. Hopefully you had work off. And we have a great night of baseball ahead. So I hope you're excited about a lot of MLB action that we're going to dive into. We still have the Euros currently going on. So on the side of my screen, I'm watching it. So if you ever see my eyes drift to the side, it's just because I'm keeping track of Portugal and France going and at it, and they're in the 78th minute of that game. So excited to kind of watch that in the background as we talk some sports today. Hope you are having a wonderful day. Make sure you're throwing your questions, your comments in the chat. Sonny, you're always welcome to talk about fantasy football today. I want to make sure that you guys are with me every day, whether it's for fantasy football or for sports picks and research. So make sure you guys are putting your questions, your comments in the chat. And that way we can get to as many of them as possible. Jennifer, great to see you. Hope you guys are with us every single day. Just like I know Jennifer is one of our most loyal viewers. Great to see you pop up. Great to see your handle pop up. We're going to go through research today as always. I want to make sure you guys hear this at the start of the show. I'm not a sports betting expert. I don't work in Vegas for some sports book. I just love sports. I love researching sports. I love looking up trends, data, analytics behind sports. I've been a content producer at Fox Sports, CBS Sports, and with Jim Rome. I just love looking up this stuff. So I'm not going to ever tell you that I get every pick right. I look at what the data's telling us, what the trends are telling us, and those are the picks that I go with. If you guys want to follow or fade, that's entirely up to you. I never want you guys to feel like I'm pressuring you one way or another. I'm just going through the data and telling you what the trends would say. Many of you would probably go, hey, trends are due to break. That may be the case. I'd rather go with something that's on the 80%, more likely to happen than the 20%, but there may be value in the 20%. That's something we talk about during the show, how to find value, how to do all those things. But I want to make sure that you guys hear that at the start of the show. We're not a sports book. We're not connected to any sports book. There are some research apps and tools that we use throughout the show, but all of them are accessible to you. Hit me up if you ever want to learn about them more and get access to them. With that said, let's get into our research, everybody. There is a game going on right now. That's Angels and Cubs. If you do follow my picks, you know I did like the Cubs in that one on the money line. Again, if you ever want my picks for free, DM me on Instagram. I know there are a lot of people on social media who charge for their picks or put them behind a paywall. I think that's absolutely ridiculous. I will never, ever do that. I think that doing this research should always be accessible and free. So all you got to do is hit the follow button or DM me on Instagram if you want to get access to every pick that I make every day for free. Again, never behind a paywall, always accessible, because that's how I think it should be done. If I'm going to do the research, I might as well give it away for free. Couple of people are asking, just to kick us off, kind of a cool way to get us started, about run in the first inning plays. I'll give those out right away, just as a way of getting started. Run in the first inning plays. I'm going to start, I think Red Sox, Yankees, there will be a run in the first inning. Red Sox, Yankees, I think there will be a run in the first inning. I think there will be. I'll lean towards that. I'll also say White Sox and Marlins. Yes to a run in the first inning. White Sox and Marlins, yes to a run in the first inning on that one. Continuing to look through, I think the Tigers and Reds, yes to a run in the first inning. I think we're going to get some offense tonight. This is a good night for baseball, good night for weather. Yes to a run in the first inning for that one. If you're looking for a no in the first inning, I don't have it on this one either. Royals and Rockies. Royals and Rockies, yes to a run in the first inning. So those are 4 games that I have yes to a run in the first inning right now. If I had to go with no run in the first inning for any play, probably the one I'd be most inclined... The one I'd probably be most inclined to go with is Mets and Pirates. Mets and Pirates would probably be the one I'd be most inclined to say is no run in the first inning. I'll say Paul Skeens doesn't give up a run in the first inning. So Mets, Pirates, I'll say no run in the first inning for that one. So that'll be the one NRFI play. Someone's asking, user 6978, who you got for a hit, run, RBI? Is that what you're saying? Hit, HHR? if you want to go towards a player prop bet that I really like, I'm actually going to start with this game, and I'm going to start with this player prop bet conversation, and it is around one of the best ownership matchups of the day, and this has to do with the Braves, and it has to do with the Phillies, everybody. Braves and Phillies is where we're going to start. That's a 7:20 start. Trey Turner against Max Fried in his career, 31 career at-bats, a 355 average, absolutely rakes against him. Only 2 RBIs, so maybe you're not as inclined to think hit-run RBI, but he's been hot of late. He has a home run against him. As for over half a hit, Trey Turner over half a hit is available in almost every single sports book. So Trey Turner over half a hit, he has a hit in 8 of his last 10 games. He's on a 4-game hitting streak overall against a left-handed pitcher. He has a hit in 7 of his last 10 games, really 5 of his last 6. And his career numbers against Max Fried make him a very strong play. Putting him on the board, Trey Turner over half a hit. If you told me you like, if you're looking for over 1.5 hits, runs, RBIs, I would certainly encourage that as well. That's Trey Turner over 1.5 hits, runs, RBIs, and over half a hit. That's the safe play, is over half a hit. The one with better ROI is over 1.5 hits, runs, and RBIs. That's not the only hitter we like in this matchup. Aaron Nola. Who owns him? Austin Riley. Austin Riley has 54 career at-bats against Aaron Nola. 5 home runs, 9 RBIs, hitting .389. Now against righties, Austin Riley is hitting just .276, but that said, he's getting hot again. He has a hit in 8 of his last 10 games. Against a right-handed starter, 8 of his last 10 games he has a hit. He has a 4-game hitting streak going against righties overall. Hit in 5 of his last 6 games. So a lot of reason to once again believe in Austin Riley and just his history against Aaron Nola. So that's where I'm going to go with this one as well. I'll take Austin Riley over half a hit as well. And again, over 1.5 hits, runs, RBIs would be one I'd go with as well. Just the history, the recent trends over the last 10 games, 20 games as well. Just a lot of conviction behind those 2 plays. Now let's dive into this game overall. Again, we're looking at the market now for Phillies and Braves, 7:10 first pitch. 75% of the tickets are on the Braves to win, but 52% of the money is on the Phillies to win. When we see that discrepancy, we would always tend to lean towards the money. The money knows something that the public tickets usually does not. So just be aware of that. The fact that the Phillies are getting a bit more love from the money that's coming down. Similar story when it comes to the spread. Phillies are underdogs for this game, plus 1.5. Now, part of the reason money's coming down on the Phillies is there's value there. They're a road underdog at plus 120 on the money line, minus 180 when it comes to on the run line. A lot of reason to really like the Phillies in this game, given that the starting pitching matchup is one that actually is kind of in their favor again. Not necessarily because Max Fried isn't a good pitcher, but because both have a history against the lineups that they're facing and aren't dominant against them. Over-under for this game is set at 7.5. Over is a stronger play right now according to the market at 99%. Let's dive into the trends on this one. Let's start by looking at the Phillies. When the Phillies, let's get going now. When the Phillies have been in the first game of a series and they're on the road as an underdog so far this year, has happened only 3 times. The over is 3-0. How about when they're in the first game of a series and they're just an underdog? Hasn't happened that often. 4 times. Over's 4-0. So the over has a bit of a move there. I love that, given that, again, parts of these offenses have hit well against the pitchers, but I'm not expecting either pitcher to be lights out. So I kind of love that. Let's continue to look at how the Phillies have done on the road against their own division so far this year. So far 6-2. Haven't played the Braves on the road, so that certainly stands out. When the Phillies have played the Braves so far this season, over over 3-0. That's where we're coming out on this one. I mentioned I like the over for this one. I mentioned Trey Turner over half a hit. I mentioned Austin Riley over half a hit. I like the over in the game. Phillies, Braves. I take the over 7.5. You can move it if you want, but I don't think there's a need to, given that there's good return on this. Right now, again, set at 7.5 at -105, -110. I really like that. If you want to move down to over 6.5, you certainly can do that. But I think there's value in the over 7.5. If you want the parlay play, it's over 6.5, but I love the over. Love what I'm seeing from that. If I want to take it one step farther, Max Fried. The under's been a very strong play in his starts. The Braves are 12-4 in his starts. When he's pitched as a home favorite, under is 5-1. I'm not backing down from my overplay. I like the over on this. Under is 5-1 in his starts. Braves are 5-1 in his starts. But on the run line, Max Fried as a home favorite on the run line, just 2-4. Certainly stands out a little bit. How has Max Fried done in his career against the Phillies? Let's take a look at that. Lifetime 10-6, but 7-9 on the run line. Here you go again. When Max Fried has pitched against the Phillies so far this in his career, the over is 13-3. The over is 13-3 when Max Fried has pitched against the Phillies. When he's pitched at home against the Phillies, the over is 7-0. This may be one of my favorite plays of the day, everybody. Max Fried against the Phillies at home in his career. The over is 7-0, and we already had a lot of momentum leaning towards the over in the first place. I really like this over. Over 7.5. I'd absolutely jump on that. I think that's a really strong play. So keep your eyes on that one, everybody. That's up on the big board. I haven't actually bet that one myself because it's something that I came upon doing the research live with you guys during the show. But that is one that certainly stands out. Let's just flip it around for a moment and look at it from the Aaron Nola point of view. Aaron Nola, so far this season, 13-4 in his starts, 9-8 on the run line. Under slightly better at 9-7-1. When he's pitched on the road so far this year, 6-1 straight up, 5-2 on the run line. Over slightly better. When Aaron Nola's pitched and the Phillies have been an underdog, the only time that's happened came against Max Fried earlier this year, actually on March 30th, so very early in the season. This came back in Philadelphia. It was a 12-4 win for the Braves. One thing that stands out about that game, though, much different lineup for the Braves. Ronald Acuna Jr. was in the lineup. The over did hit in that one, but the 12-4 score may not be a good indication of what the outcome could be for this one. If I had to go in any direction, I really kind of like the Braves to ultimately win, but I would take the Phillies to cover. I think the Phillies covering is probably the safer play. Phillies plus 1.5. I'm not going to put that one up on the board. I like the over. The over is what I really like from this game. Over 7.5, over 6.5 if you're looking for the leg of a parlay. Certainly think that's a good way to go based on the market, the trends, and everything else we've been looking at so far for this one. Appreciate you guys being with us. Unpopular opinion, I hate Aaron Nola. I'm like 0-5 on bets with him when he's inconsistent for me. That's actually one of the reasons I'm not betting this game. I feel like I could talk myself into either team winning, and a lot of it has to do with Max Fried has a bad history against the Phillies. He's 6-1 straight up. I shouldn't say that. Max Fried 6-1 straight up against the Phillies. How about as a favorite against the Phillies? Yeah, I feel like the Braves are going to win. I feel like Braves win, but I feel like Phillies cover. I feel like that's where that comes out. Let's take a look at how Aaron Nola has pitched against the Braves. Aaron Nola, when he's pitched against the Braves at any point in his career, 20-16 straight up, 20-16 on the run line. When he's been an underdog against the Braves, 2-6 straight up, 4-4 on the run line. By the way, Aaron Nola, the over 7-1. Like every trend right now is backing the over in this Braves and Phillies game. I absolutely love it. If I had to come down with any picks, I'd say Braves on the money line, Phillies plus 1.5. But the over is what I really like from this game. And again, Trey Turner over half a hit, over 1.5 hits, runs, RBIs. Austin Riley, over half a hit, over 1.5 hits, runs, RBIs. Keith, great to have you with us. Keith Blankenship's asking about Bobby Witt Jr. Bobby Witt Jr. is playing in Colorado tonight, so the offense for the Royals is going to be less of a good return on investment, just given that you're going to have to really get some good production out of these players. But there is someone that I'm interested in. Let's take a look at Bobby Witt Jr. first. In his career, doesn't actually have great numbers against Kyle Freeland. Just 1 hit and 6 at-bats, no home runs, 2 RBIs. But there is one member of the Kansas City Royals who has hit very well against Kyle Freeland. That is Hunter Renfroe. 21 at-bats, 7 hits, including 1 home run. And against left-handed pitching so far this year, 186 average. So you may want to consider it, but again, higher premium value on that. Over 1.5 hits, not great return. On the other side of things, Cole Reagans, only Tovar has a hit against him, but very limited value across the board in this game. Brendan Rodgers has hit left-handed pitching very well. Brendan Rodgers, over 1.5 hits, though, is where the market's at. He has gone over 1.5 hits in 5 of his last 10 games. Better than I would have expected at home. 4 of his last 8. Over 1.5 hits, runs, RBIs. That's actually a pretty good play. At home, I don't love the matchup against Cole Reagans, but keep your eye on Brendan Rodgers, over 1.5 hits, runs, and RBIs. Getting back to Bobby Witt Jr. for a moment. Bobby Witt Jr. hits, runs, and RBIs right now is set at 3.5. So the answer to your question, Keith Blankenship, is absolutely avoid Bobby Witt Jr. tonight. Unless you believe he's going to go off for a monster game. If you do, back it. But I think that market is not worth betting on. There's just no real value there. His history against Kyle Freeland, not worth the time. Not worth the effort. How is he hitting against left-handed pitching so far this year? 321, but only 2 home runs, only 7 RBIs. So not the kind of numbers you would want to see if you're going to get over that 3.5 hits, runs, RBIs threshold. So I certainly think that's the way to go. Avoid that one. Josh, you said take Riley and Albies, hit, run, RBI. They hit off well against Nola. I didn't say Albies, but let's take a quick look at Ozzie Albies before we move on from that game entirely. We're going to get to the Royals and the Rockies, but I do want to close up on the Phillies and the Braves really quick. I mentioned Trey Turner. Trey Turner has great numbers against Max Fried. He's one of the players I'd certainly be identifying. On the other side, Austin Riley was someone who has great numbers. Ozzie Albies hitting 286. So he's hitting well, but actually not as well as Austin Riley. So if you're feeling it, go for it. I'm not going to talk you out of it. I'm certainly seeing offense in that one, Josh. But that's not the one that I actually have my eye on. Let's move on to that Royals and Rockies game. We're kind of bouncing around. This is an 8-10 start. Money coming down just slightly, a little bit more on the Rockies than the tickets are. 76% of the tickets are on the Royals, 72% of the money. But Rockies are seeing a little bit of love. As for the spread, Rockies minus 1.5 is seeing a little bit more money than tickets. The over is seeing more action as well. 72% of the tickets bet on the total are on the under 10.5, but 61% of the money are on the over. We got the over. Yes to a run in the first inning, by the way, is already up on the board for me for this game. I do like Rockies and Royals to see someone touch the plate in the first inning. Let's jump on over and see how the Royals have done when they've been in the first game of a series as a road favorite so far this year. 3-1 straight up, the over 3-1 as well. 3-1 on the run line, a lot of reason to like that. Cole Reagans on the mound for the Royals. Let's take a look at how he's done so far this year. Again, as a road favorite, I feel like that's a good indication of what we're going to see tonight. 0-3, not a great look there. So, bit of discrepancy here. Royals have performed well, Cole Reagans has not. How about how Cole Reagans has done over the course of his career under that scenario? When Cole Reagans has pitched as a road favorite at any point in his career. 1-4 in his career, 1-4 on the run line. His only win as a road favorite came last year in August. It was actually his first start as a road favorite. Overall on the road, just 5-12 straight up. The under is 12-4-1. He has lost his last four straight road starts when he's pitched on the road against a team with a sub 500 winning percentage in his career. 2-5 straight up, 3-4 on the run line, and 2-5 favoring the under on the 5. So there's a lot of reason to kind of fade this a little bit. I understand why the market's favoring the Rockies more than I may have expected when we first started researching this one. Let's go into just that. Let's look at it from a Rockies point of view. First game of a series as a home dog so far this year. Rockies are actually 6-5. Surprising. They have a winning record both on the straight up and on the run line plays. First game of a series as a home dog. Now, they have won 4 of their last 6 in this scenario. The over, by the way, is 4-0 in their last 4 games under this scenario as well. When they're playing a team with a winning record under this scenario, Rockies are 4-2 straight up, 4-2 on the run line. Overs hit in 3 straight games. Gotta say, a lot of reason for me to like it. Really quick, I just want to see for a moment, how have the Rockies done against a left-handed starting pitcher at home so far this year? 6-8 straight up, 5-9 on the run line. Over is hit 7-6-1. Overs actually hit in 4 of the last 5 games. Like what I'm seeing from the Rockies on the cover play, a little bit more than I would have expected. Once again, I say that not because I'm leaning one way or another, but right now, if I had to make a pick just for, based on what we're seeing early indications. Kyle Freeland so far this year, 2-4 in his starts, 3-3 on the run line. Over's been slightly better at 4-2. When Kyle Freeland has pitched at home this year, 1-1 straight up, 2-0 on the run line though, 1-1 flat across the board on the total. How has Kyle Freeland done over the course of his career as a home dog? 27-17 on the run line. He's actually performed better once again than I might have expected. And against a team with a winning record. 20-13 on the run line, 19-14 straight up. Under's been better at 19-12-2. If I had to go anywhere on this game, I don't think I'm going to put one up on the board, but if I had to go anywhere this, I kind of like the Rockies to cover. Rockies plus 1.5. Really, there's value to take Rockies plus 2.5. Rockies plus 2.5 right now is available at minus 160. That has my attention. Rockies plus 3 has my attention. I understand why the over is probably a good play as well. I'm not going to bet the total on it. Royals, Rockies, I do like the run in the first inning. Again, I could see it hitting its over. Over 9.5 might be a nice play as well if you're looking to play the total and you're just studying it a bit more than me. But for the moment, some things stand out just about how Cole Reagans has performed on the road. I like how Kyle Freeland's actually done at home as an underdog against successful teams. So just some things that are keeping me from jumping on the Royals right now. We're getting a question over on Instagram Live, so let's go answer that really quick. Getting a question about Jock Peterson. Let's take a look at Jock Peterson right now. For Arizona, over half a hit. He has a hit in 4 of his last 6 games against the starting pitcher, Randy Vasquez. Peterson 0 for 3 in his career against right-handed pitching this year. He is hitting .294. When he's faced a right-handed pitcher over the last 10 games, he has a hit in 6 of them. Last 10 games on the road, has a hit in 6 of the last 10, really 6 of the last 9. Head-to-head against the Diamondbacks on the road, regardless of starting pitcher, he only has a hit in 2 of his last 5 games, 5 of his last 9. You could talk me into over half a hit. I'm not as inclined to maybe bet on anything more than that. J2 official, maybe you know something I don't, but I just don't see it right now. He hasn't been absolutely cooking, so there's reason for me to not necessarily buy into Jock Peterson over half a home run. I understand it though. He is the kind of hitter who could get into a hold of one and pull it to right, but for the moment I'm leaning kind of away from that. What do I think about the Mets today? Very interesting one. Paul Skeens on the mound for the Pittsburgh Pirates. Right now the market, 69% of the tickets are on the Pirates to win, but 56% of the money is on the Mets to win. So just some discrepancy there. 92% of the tickets are on the Pirates to cover. Pirates are a favorite, -1.5 on the run line, but only 80% of the money is on that. So again, money coming down on the Mets. Maybe that's because there's just a bit of popularity on the Mets as a bet over the last few weeks, but also some reason to believe that this matchup may not be as favorable for the Pirates as one would first think. Let's dive into the matchup right now. Let's take a look at the Mets. First game of a series on the road so far this year. 8-5 straight up, 8-5 on the run line. The over is 9-4. There's actually reason to like that on the over play. Really quick, I'm going to dive into the Paul Skeens side of this, even though we started with the Mets. Paul Skeens so far this year, the over's 5-4. Actually, the over started 5-0. The under is hit in 4 straight games with him on the mound. So kind of interesting that the over went from a really strong play to being a really bad play. Paul Skeens at home so far this year, 3-2 straight up, 2-3 on the run line. Over's been slightly better again at 3-2, but again, those were the first 3 home starts. Last 2 the under has hit. When he's faced a team with a winning record so far this year, Paul Skeens and the Pirates have gone 4-1 straight up, 4-1 towards the over. The only loss they had was a 2-1 loss to the Braves and Max Fried. So they've been very good against winning teams with Paul Skeens on the mound. That said, Mets 8-5 under this scenario. When the Mets, though, have been a road dog so far this year, first game of a series, 7-3 straight up, 7-3 on the run line. Over's been 7-3 as well. Kind of interesting about that. Let's take a look how the Pirates have done. Pirates, first game of a series as a home favorite so far this year. 4-4 straight up, 4-4 on the run line. Over-under's been flatlined at 4-4 as well. They've really gone back and forth literally the whole year. Win-loss, 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 win-loss. The entire 8 games they've played, first game of a series as a home favorite so far this year. If you believe in the pattern of that trend, it's a win tonight. But that's certainly not something I'm going to buy into. I am curious about how these two teams have done when the total has been 7.5. Let's take a look at that really quick. When the Pirates have had a total less than 8 for any game so far this year, 12-13 straight up, 9-16 on the run line. The under's been slightly better at 15-10. How about when they've been at home and the total's been less than 8 runs? 5-6 straight up. The Pirates are 2-9 on the run line when they are at home and the total is less than 8 runs. That certainly stands out to me. Under slightly better at 6-5. I'm just looking at the times in which they covered the run line. Those 2 times, one of them came against the Brewers. Jared Jones was on the mound for that game. The other time came against the Rockies. Bailey Falter was on the mound for that. When the Pirates have had a total less than 8 runs and they've been a favorite, 6-9 on the run line, 3-12. They're 6-9 straight up, 3-12 on the run line, 3-12 on the run line. And the under is better at 11-4. So I'm not going to touch the total for this game. Mets and Pirates, not going to touch the total. Going to avoid that one. I don't think there's going to be a run in the first inning. I'm taking Mets and Pirates, no run in the first inning for this one. But that said, I still am leaning just slightly, I think, towards Mets plus 1.5. I do want to see it from the other side of things. Are the Mets no longer a 500 team? When Paul Skeens has faced a team with a sub 500 record, 3-2 straight up, 3-2 favoring the under. Mets must have fallen just below 500. When Luis Severino is on the mound, facing a sub 500 opponent, 5-5 straight up, 2-8 on the run line. When Luis Severino faces a sub 500 team, 2-8 on the run line, over's been better at 7-3. How about when he's been a dog against a sub 500 team, 1-1 straight up, the under 2-0. Under's 2-0. Okay? When he's been on the road against a sub 500 team, 3-3 straight up, 2-4 on the run line, 4-2 favoring the over. Man, not a lot I like about this game right now. If I had to go in any direction, I might take the Mets plus the 1.5, but really nothing I'm really vibing on this one. You could absolutely talk me into the Pirates winning this game with Paul Skeens, but I don't know. So I'm going to avoid this one, dodging some of the early games we've been studying. Some of these aren't great matchups in terms of trends. A lot of diversity in terms of where the angles are going and what directions we're being pointed towards based on the trends and the research that we are doing. With that said, if you have a question, get in the comment section. We are being asked about Paul Skeens and strikeouts. I'm going to take a look at that one really quick for all of those out there that are curious about how we think Paul Skeens will do when it comes to strikeouts. Over 7.5 is what we're being asked about. He's gone over 7.5 in 4 of his last 5 games overall. At home, though, only 2 of 5 games so far. This is what I also want to do whenever we pull up this kind of research. I like to go to FanGraphs, and I like to see how certain teams have done. We're going to look at how the Mets have done on the road against a right-handed starter. When it comes to strikeouts, Mets are actually one of the best teams at avoiding strikeouts against right-handed pitching on the road. Mets are the 4th lowest strikeout total against a right-handed starter on the road. I wouldn't bet this one. Again, if I were to take anything, I might actually take the under. I might buy it up to under 8.5 if it were possible, but I'm not going to touch this one. He's only gone over this total 2 times at home so far this year. And those 2 times he only reached 8. That was against the Rays. That was against the Dodgers. For context, the Dodgers are 15th when it comes to strikeouts. Rays and Dodgers are 14th and 15th when it comes to strikeouts to right-handed pitching on the road. Mets are 27th. I would lean towards the under maybe a little bit on this, or just not touch it at all if you're not feeling it. Appreciate you being with us. Yankee123. If you put a water gun to my head and we're going to squirt in my ear, I'd probably say that's the way to go. But frankly, I'd avoid the game. I just don't have enough confidence in it. One thing I always tell you guys is I want to see a constellation of variables pointing in the same direction. Those are the kind of plays that I put a pick down on. If I don't see it and I don't believe in it, I'll just avoid it altogether. That said, if you want to see every pick that I do make every single day, DM me on Instagram. I give away my picks for free. I love doing this research. I give away my picks for free because I never feel like you guys should pay for picks. And you guys are probably working hard, and I have the opportunity to do this research. So if you want to see the picks that I'm making every day based on the research I'm doing, DM me on Instagram, ButtFumbleSports. DM me on Instagram, and that way you can see every pick I make every single day. Let's get into the Orioles game. I'm seeing someone who's asking about the O's game. Let's check out that one. Orioles are still out west. They're playing the Oakland Athletics. 86% of the tickets are on the O's to win. Only 81% of the money, though. Kind of interesting there. As for the run line, Orioles are the favorite, -1.5. But Orioles -1.5 is available right now at -102. Tells you people are thinking that this might be a bit of a closer game than one would expect. The under getting a little bit of love. The total set at 8.5. 37% of the tickets are on the under, 38% of the money. So the over is getting the love, but just recognizing that it's not a dominant shift towards one direction on that. So just something that stands out. Let's dive into the research really quickly on this. Let's take a look at the Orioles. First game of a series as a road favorite so far this year. They're 7-3 straight up, 6-3 on the run line. When they faced a sub 500 opponent under that scenario so far this year, they're 4-2 straight up, 4-2 on the run line. The over has hit in 4 straight games. Really quick, let's take a look at how the Orioles have done. The total for this one is set at 8.5, I believe. When the total is set at 8.5 or less, and they're on the road as a favorite, Orioles are 17-18 straight up, 15-9 on the run line. Over's been better at 14, 8, and 3. Now, interestingly enough, they've actually won just one of their last 5 games under that scenario, but those games came against the Mariners and the Astros, certainly better opponents than the Oakland Athletics. Flipping it over and looking at the Athletics side of things, when the Athletics' first game of a series as a home dog so far this year, 4-6 straight up, 5-4 on the run line, over-under split at 5-5 when they faced a winning team under that scenario. 2-3 straight up, 3-2 on the run line. They've won back-to-back games under that scenario against the Twins and the Royals. Albert Suarez on the mound for the O's so far this year. Albert Suarez, when he's facing a sub-500 opponent on the road, only 2-2 straight up. He's lost his last 2. Those were that was against the Blue Jays and to the Astros. On the other side of things, Hogan Harris against a team with a winning record when he's pitching at home. 1-1. How about when he's pitching as a dog against the sub-5? 1-2. Hogan Harris, I'm just curious over the course of his career, how has he done as a home underdog overall? 4-2 straight up, 3-3 on the run line, 2-4 on the total, favoring the under. If I had to go anywhere, I'd throw up Orioles on the money line. Orioles on the money line is probably the one I'm going to go with. There is a player prop bet from this game that I really like, and it lends me, it's one of the things that's leaning me towards taking the Orioles on the money line in the first place. Let's jump to this game. O's and A's. Battle of the vowels on this one. Against left-handed pitching, Adley Rutschman this year is hitting over 400 against left-handed. He's hitting exactly, 400 this year against left-handed pitching, and that's in 105 at-bats. That includes 6 home runs, 28 RBIs. He's gone 4 straight games without a hit, but against left-handed pitching, he has a hit in 8 of his last 10 games. On the road against the left-handed starter, 10 for 10. Over his last 20 games on the road against the left-handed starter, he has a hit in 16 of the 20. You can put him on the board as one of my favorite player prop bets of the day. Adley Rutschman, over half a hit. And if you wanted, again, to take over 1.5 hits, runs, RBIs, I'd certainly go for that. Trey Turner, Austin Riley, Adley Rutschman, these are players that I'm really big into today. Now, on the other side of things, there's some history against Albert Suarez in this lineup. Brent Rooker, 1 for 2, 2 RBIs. Nevin, 1 for 3. Butler, 1 for 2. Bleday, 1 for 2 with an RBI. Schumann, 1 for 2. McCann, 1 for 2. So there is some reason to believe this game could be closer. So if you want to take the A's plus the 1.5, I think there's value there. But ultimately, against left-handed pitching, Austin Hayes hitting 340. Ryan Mountcastle hitting 306. Adley Rutschman hitting 400. I'm going to take the O's on the money line on this one. I understand if you guys don't want to take it. Maybe there isn't enough convincing in the research that we've done. But I'll take Orioles on the money line. But you could absolutely talk me into the A's plus the 1.5 or plus the 2.5 if you're looking for something that's a little bit downgraded in terms of ROI. Appreciate those that are watching over on YouTube. Ricky, would you still take Rutschman over 1.5 hits, runs, or RBIs? Absolutely, I would. Richard Roman's asking about Yankees and Red Sox. Let's dive into it, everybody. This is the rivalry that I think at the start of the year, a lot of people expected would kind of be one-sided, maybe a bit of a dud. But the Red Sox are one of the hottest teams in baseball over the last few weeks. The Yankees are one of the coldest teams in baseball over the last few weeks. These two teams battle at the perfect time. If the Red Sox were to actually sweep this series, I believe they would be in a tie and maybe actually ahead of the Yankees in the AL East standings, which is a remarkable statement given how the off seasons went. Red Sox right now, though, are not getting love from the market. 77% of the tickets being bet on this game are on the Yankees, 82% of the money on the Yankees. That said, Red Sox are getting some love on the run line side of things. 74% of tickets on the Yankees, 68% of money on the Yankees to cover. But Red Sox getting a bit more love from the money. Over getting more love as well. 98% of tickets and 97% of the money is on the over. Total for this game is set right now at 8. Movement on this one opened at 8, went up to 8.5, back down to 8, then up to 8.5, back down to 8. So if you like this one, make sure you're getting it at the 8 or maybe even the 7.5, just given there's been that back and forth line movement. Let's dive into this one. Red Sox. First game of a series as an away dog. Let's start there. 4-3 straight up, 4-3 on the run line. First game of a series, away dog against a team with a winning record so far this year. 2-3 straight up, 2-3 on the run line, under slightly better at 3-2. How have they done as a road dog against divisional opponents? 2-1. How about on the road against divisional opponents? 2-1. Oh, that's first game of a series. Let's expand that. Let's look at how the Red Sox have done as an away dog against a team with a winning record. So far this year, 10-9 straight up, 12-7 on the run line. Under's been better at 11-6. How about when they're coming off of 1 day of rest? Let's actually flip this around. Let's take a look at the Yankees side of things. When the Yankees have been a home favorite, first game of a series, 7-5 straight up, 6-6 on the run line. Under's been better at 8-4. When they've been a home favorite, first game of a series against a divisional opponent, Yankees are 2-1. Under's 3-0, so the under getting a bit of love from that. When the Red Sox have had a total that's less than 8.5 and they're on the road, 18-9 straight up, 17-10 on the run line. Over's been slightly better at 13, 12, and 2, but not by much. How about when they've been a dog? Total's been 8.5 or less, and they're a dog. It's actually under 8.5. 17-7 on the run line, under slightly better, straight up. Not much we're taking from this, though. I'm not seeing anything just yet that has me excited about betting on this one. Taking a look at how the Yankees have done at home with a total less than 8.5. 14-5 straight up. 9-10 though on the run line. Red Sox plus 1.5 is starting to have some value there. I'm starting to see that. The Yankees as a favorite with a total less than 8.5, 18-8, but again 12-13 on the run line. Once again, Red Sox a little bit of value there. Let's take a look at Tanner Houck. When Tanner Houck has pitched so far this year, Red Sox are 11-6. They've been really dominant. He lost his last start against the Padres, but prior to that was on a very impressive winning streak. When he's pitched on the road as an underdog this year, 1-1 straight up, 1-1 on the run line. The under is 2-0. When he's pitched as an underdog regardless of location, same thing when he's pitched on the road so far this year. 5-2 straight up, 4-3 on the run line, 3-4 favoring the under. Let's take a look how Tanner Houck has done so far in his career against the New York Yankees. Tanner Houck against the Yankees. 5-2 straight up, 4-3 on the run line. He's won 3 of his last 4 games against them, and the one loss was a 2-run loss. But other than that, he's done a very good job actually covering the spread under that during that time. He's covered the spread in 3 of the last 4 games, 6 of the last 8. Pretty strong. Let's take a look at Nestor Cortez. Here's a piece of data that I actually am aware of that I'm going to spoil a little bit. Nestor Cortez against the Red Sox in his career, ownership. 4-0 lifetime against the Red Sox. 4-0 lifetime against the Red Sox. 4-0 on the run line. The under's 3-1. As of right now, a lot of the trends are favoring the under in this one. Total set at 8. Trends are going in that direction. If I look at ballparkpal.com, though, they're favoring the over. So kind of interesting that it's back and forth on that. I personally like the Yankees on the money line and Red Sox to cover. So that's what I'm going to go with for this game. Yankees on the money line, Red Sox to cover. There are a couple of players that I do like for this game in terms of a player prop bet. We're going to start with Rob Refsnyder. Rob Refsnyder in his career against Nestor Cortez, hitting 600, 6 for 10 in his career against lefties this year, left-handed pitching this year, hitting 328. I'll add him to our list of players I like for a player prop bet. That's Rob Refsnyder, over half a hit. Rob Refsnyder, over half a hit. Taking a look at some of the other hitters that I've got my eye on for this one, flipping it over to the Yankees side of things. Gleyber Torres is hitting 278 and 18 at-bats against Tanner Houck. Just something that has my attention. Aaron Judge, 3 for 9 lifetime, doesn't have a home run. But Aaron Judge doesn't have a hit in his last 2 games. So far this year, he hasn't gone 3 games without a hit since early May. I'll take Aaron Judge over half a hit as well. Aaron Judge over half a hit. That's another one that's making our big board. Appreciate you guys being with us. If you guys miss any of our picks so far during the show, make sure you hit the follow button, make sure you subscribe, and make sure you DM me on Instagram, ButtFumbleSports. DM me on Instagram, ButtFumbleSports. That way you can get access to every pick I make every day for free. They're never behind a paywall. They're never hidden. They're always accessible, so make sure you're DMing me on Instagram. ButtFumbleSports, DM me on Instagram to get access to every bet that I make every single day. They're always free. I always want you guys to have access to them, so that's what we're going to be focused on. It's Colin Smith. How's Volpe looking? Personally, I'm not crazy about Volpe for a number of reasons. He's been very cold of late. His history against Tanner Houck so far in his career, 0 for 4, kind of makes sense. Tanner Houck has that sweeping slider that seems to give Anthony Volpe a lot of trouble. Sometimes he's able to kind of hit that off the end of the bat and slap it into right field. But overall, unless it's a hanger in which he's able to pull it. But I just don't feel great about Anthony Volpe right now. Not a reason for me to buy into him. That's also what I want to make sure you hear. It's not that I dislike or like a player. It's just looking at the data and what the data is presenting, whether that's a player I feel like I can believe in. Jay, I really like Kwan to get over half a hit. Stephen Kwan, absolutely. In fact, against left-handed pitching, he's even better than you would expect. Let's jump on over to that player prop bet really quick. Giants, Guardians. Stephen Kwan, over 1.5 hits. He only has 2 hits in 2 of his last 10 games. But against left-handed pitching, he actually has 2 hits in 6 of his last 9 games overall. And at home, 6 of his last 10, 4 of his last 5. I really like Stephen Kwan over half a hit if you can find it. But I actually like Stephen Kwan over 1.5 hits, runs, RBIs as well. Stephen Kwan over 1.5 hits, runs, RBIs is one that I would go with. Against left-handed pitching, he's gone over this in 9 straight games. I'm putting this one up on the board. That's Stephen Kwan over 1.5 hits plus runs plus RBIs. Again, that's hit in 9 straight games. So just based on the trend, 9 straight games against left-handed pitching. At home, that's actually hit in 8 of the last 10 games. He hits even better against left-handed pitching, it seems. So that's one of the reasons I'm jumping on board with that. Really big on Stephen Kwan. Great find by you. Diego, does my Dodgers start off with the win after getting owned by Christian Walker? First things first. we need to make a mental note. Anytime Christian Walker faces the Los Angeles Dodgers this year, we need to certainly put some bets on the board around him. That said, good news for the Dodger faithful out there. Tyler Glasnow on the mound. Now, money's coming down a little bit more on the Brewers than tickets. This minus 200, really interesting to me when it comes to the Dodgers, because I actually have a really interesting trend for you. Let's take a look at Tyler Glasnow. Tyler Glasnow in his career, when the line has been greater or equal to minus 200 in his career, 22-4. 22-4 when he's pitched at home, 16-3. And in fact, all three of those losses have come this year with the Dodgers. So this year, when the total, if I actually make this about this season, when Tyler Glasnow pitches at home and the line is minus 200 or higher, he's actually lost 3 of his last 6 games. Kind of interesting there. 4-4 on the run line, so not nearly as good as you would have expected. On the other side, Aaron Savali, who's making his first start for the Brewers after getting traded. He's hard to kind of make a prediction with him because this is his first start for the Brewers. But he's 2-6 straight up on the road. Personally, I'm not crazy about betting on this one, kind of because it's a new pitcher in a new place. I'd love to see a first start. If I had to go anywhere, I might take the Dodgers on the money line, but Brewers on the run line actually have some value, and I'll show you why. This sounds crazy, but on Friday's first game of a series, Brewers have the best straight-up record in baseball at 10-2, and they have one of the best run line records at 8-4. Who has one of the worst Friday? The Dodgers on the run line are 1-11 on Friday's first game of a series. I'm going to take the Brewers plus 1.5. I'll put that one up on the board, actually. Brewers plus 1.5. I'll tell you why. We had the caution when it came to Tyler Glasnow when he's had that minus 200 favor, that line around his neck. He has not performed nearly as well. Brewers are a great team under the scenario. Brewers are the best team when it comes to Friday's first game of a series. Friday's first game of a series, they're 10-2 straight up, 8-4 on the run line. The Dodgers are the opposite. Dodgers straight up are 4-8, 1-11 on the run line. I'm absolutely going to take the Brewers to cover. That said, D. Oliver does bring up one really good point around this game. It is Shohei Ohtani's birthday. And if you told me there's any player that I would like to bet on for their birthday, Shohei Ohtani is certainly among those that I would like to put money on. Shohei Ohtani over half a hit. He's had a hit in 7 of his last 10 games. In his career against Savali, 1 for 3 lifetime. He's hitting .329 against right-handed pitching. At home against right-handed pitching, he has a hit in 3 of his last 4 games, 6 of his last 10. I'll just put it up as over half a hit for now. Shohei Ohtani, over half a hit. But do I think he'll do more than that? Yes, I do. Appreciate you guys being with us. Hope you guys are enjoying the games. If you're watching the Euro, this was a phenomenal day for football, phenomenal day for soccer, whatever you call it. It was awesome. Germany, Spain lived up to the hype. Spain ultimately getting the win in extra time. Phenomenal game. If you haven't been watching, you're missing out. And this Portugal-France game, which is only about 60 seconds, maybe a little bit of extra time away from going to penalty kicks. So if you're not watching the show, I completely understand, because the international soccer scene is as good right now as you could ever hope for. Something that's helping carry us through some of these more dog days, these kind of July days of baseball in which we're covering every game that we possibly can and everything else. But nice to have something else on our screen. By the way, if you guys are curious about fantasy football, we're going to get into some mock drafts this week. So make sure you guys are up with us. Make sure you're doing fantasy football content or conversations with us. We're going to do a lot of shows around that in the coming weeks. If you have fantasy football questions, get them into the chat. They're always accessible. They're always available. Josh, I'm very big on Yordan Alvarez. Yordan Alvarez is definitely a play for me. A couple of folks are asking about that one, so let's jump on over to it. Let's take a look at Yordan Alvarez against Pablo Lopez. Yordan Alvarez over half a hit's available against Pablo Lopez in his career. Alvarez 3 for 5 lifetime, no home run, no RBI, but does have a couple extra base hits. 3 for 5, love that against right-handed pitching, hitting .274. Against right-handed pitching, he has a hit in 6 of his last 10 games, but he hasn't had a game where he's gone back-to-back without a hit, and he did fail last game to have a hit. In fact, he hasn't gone 2 games without a hit since May 5th and May 7th. So Yordan Alvarez over half a hit, absolutely. Yordan Alvarez over half a hit, very much like that. By the way, Portugal and France are moving to penalty kicks. So if you love sports, I completely understand if you're going to move away from our channel and go check that out. That is something that you do not want to miss. But I love Yordan Alvarez. Frankly, I love our player prop bets for today. All of our player prop bets, these are some of my favorite matchups that I've seen in a while in terms of hitter-pitcher matchups. Really quick, let's recap actually the picks we put up on the player prop bets. Trey Turner, over half a hit. That's Trey Turner, over half a hit. We have Austin Riley, over half a hit. Austin Riley, over half a hit. We have Adley Rutschman, over half a hit. Adley Rutschman, over half a hit. Rob Refsnyder, over half a hit. Rob Refsnyder, over half a hit. Aaron Judge, over half a hit. Aaron Judge, over half a hit. Stephen Kwan, over 1.5 hits, runs, and RBIs. Stephen Kwan, over 1.5 hits plus runs plus RBIs. We also have Shohei Ohtani, over half a hit, and Yordan Alvarez, over half a hit. Those are some of the plays that we love for player prop bets. Let's actually hand out a few more picks. We'll do some rapid fire right now. One of the picks I really like for today's action, I'm big on Cardinals on the money line. Cardinals on the money line is another play that I'm very big into today. Sonny Gray on the mound. There is another hitter-pitcher matchup that's very favorable in that one. I'm bringing up that game. We're not going to dive into the trends. I like Sonny Gray on the money line. I like the Cardinals on the money line. But I did want to bring this game up so we could talk about Nolan Arenado. Nolan Arenado against Patrick Corbin is ownership. 8 for 16, 2 home runs, 3 RBIs against left-handed pitching this year. Nolan Arenado is only hitting .230, but he does have a hit in 7 of his last 10 games. Against left-handed pitching, he has a hit in 6 of his last 7 games. I take Nolan Arenado over half a hit as well. And again, the players that I'm putting up for over half a hit, you could also take over 1.5 hits, runs, RBIs. I'm taking the over half a hit because that's the thing I have the higher confidence level in. But they're players that I just think are going to have great offensive nights. But Nolan Arenado, over half a hit. That's another player that we're big into. Love the matchup against Corbin, Patrick Corbin. On the other side of things, Ruiz hits Sonny Gray well. Jesse Winker hits Sonny Gray okay. But other than that, very quiet stats when it comes to the Nationals against Sonny Gray. That's one of the reasons I really like Cardinals on the money line. That's Cardinals on the money line. Appreciate you guys being with us. Hope you guys are enjoying the content and enjoying the show. Make sure you hit the follow button. Make sure you subscribe. Make sure you're with us every time we go live. I love talking sports with you guys every day. I hope you guys know it is the absolute highlight of my day every time I'm on with you guys. So I hope you guys are joining us however often you can, because it is absolutely the best being with you guys. Another pick I'm going to put up on the board, I'm going to make it quick, is Mariners on the money line, everybody. I'm taking Mariners on the money line tonight. Luis Castillo against Kevin Gausman. This is in Seattle. Mariners as a home favorite. First game of a series so far this year. Mariners are 8-2 under that scenario. They did lose their last game. That came against the Orioles. The only times they've lost were the Red Sox and the Orioles. Maybe it's an AL East thing, but they were on a phenomenal winning streak prior to that. I really think they're going to bounce back and have a very good game tonight. Luis Castillo, when he's been on the mound so far this year, Only 8-10 straight up, but at home, 5-4 straight up, so he's been better at home. He has a win in 5 of his last 6 games at home. Mariners on the money line, another one that we're going with. So here's a quick recap of the game picks that we've given out so far. Quick recap of all the game picks we've given out so far. We're taking Phillies and Braves over 7.5. Phillies and Braves over 7.5. Orioles on the money line. Orioles on the money line. Mets and Pirates, no run in the first inning. Mets and Pirates, no run in the first inning. We're taking Yankees on the money line. Yankees on the money line. Red Sox plus 1.5. Red Sox plus 1.5. And Red Sox Yankees, yes to a run in the first inning. Red Sox Yankees, yes to a run in the first inning. We're taking Cardinals on the money line. Cardinals on the money line. White Sox and Marlins, yes to a run in the first inning. White Sox and Marlins, yes to a run in the first inning. Tigers and Reds, yes to a run in the first inning. Tigers and Reds, yes to a run in the first inning. Royals and Rockies, yes to a run in the first inning. Royals, Rockies, yes to a run in the first inning. I am taking Brewers plus 1.5. I think the Dodgers probably win, but I like the Brewers on the run line. And I'm taking Mariners on the money line. Mariners on the money line. If you want every bet that I make every single day, DM me on Instagram, ButtFumbleSports. DM me on Instagram to get every bet that I make every single day for free, regardless of the sport, the type of bet, the odds, the amount that I've bet on it. They're always accessible. They're always for free. So make sure you DM me on Instagram. The name of my handle is ButtFumbleSports, same as every other channel that I have, TikTok, YouTube, Instagram. So make sure you check us out. ButtFumbleSports, DM me on Instagram. I'm going to give away all of my picks for free, not just for today, every day. They're never behind a paywall. They're always accessible. So make sure you guys go do that. I will be live tomorrow morning because there are going to be some early baseball games. So I'll be live tomorrow morning. So make sure you hit the follow button. That way you're with us for tomorrow's show. It is wonderful being with you guys every day that we get the chance. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Stay happy, stay healthy, stay safe, and I'll see you guys tomorrow morning. Goodbye, everybody.